Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see you. My name is James Harrington. I'm managing partner here at Feiger Law. To my right is Latoria Till. She's the mother of Eva Goodman, the reason that we're here. To my left is one of our senior trial lawyers, Gary Felty. He's worked with us for a very long time, and he'll be helping me out with the case. Eva is not here. This has been very hard for her. She was put on camera, she was live streamed, she was potentially put on a Facebook group with this, so we felt that it would be best that she not be here today. But we did feel that it was important to have everybody here today to discuss the lawsuit that we have filed today. The lawsuit that we have filed today is a 54-page lawsuit. We have named Judge Kenneth King as a defendant. We have named the security guard company as a defendant, and the two security officers who we currently do not know their name, but I believe we'll get the names in relatively short order, and they will be added into the lawsuit. The counts that have been filed against Judge Kenneth King are for malicious prosecution, unlawful arrest and incarceration, intentional infliction of emotional distress, invasion of privacy, false arrest, and false imprisonment. And the claims against the security company are for unlawful seizure and detention of Fourth Amendment violations, false arrest and imprisonment, and that the company is responsible under a theory of what's called vicarious liability. This is a very troubling case, and we had a member of our bench berate, humiliate, intimidate, and essentially incarcerate a 15-year-old kid. And this 15-year-old kid was doing work for the greening of Detroit, planting trees, and there was a scheduled field trip that was had in Judge Kenneth King's courtroom. And she was tired, she fell asleep, and the judge didn't like that. So he yelled at her. And she fell asleep again, and then he humiliated her and had a plan that he was going to have her ordered to be placed in handcuffs, have her put on the Wayne County prisoner outfit that I believe it's green. I've seen it before, and on the video that I've seen, it's difficult to see, but had her placed in that. This is in front of all of her peers. This is being streamed. This is online. And then she was detained, and this took several hours. The whole ordeal was several hours in time. He accused her of being disrespectful. He says, "I don't like your attitude." Says, "What's your problem?" And Eva, she apologizes. She says, "I'm sorry." He then threatens her about the juvenile justice system and asks, "Is this where you want to go?" We can hear this on the video. I believe that the video has since been taken down. I have seen some clips. I know all of you have seen clips. And certainly through the discovery process that we will be engaged in as the case goes on, we will be gathering additional evidence, hopefully more video footage to fill in some of the gaps that we have at this point. But when Eva's asked, "Is this where you want to go?" after being threatened and scared about the juvenile justice system, she says no. She was taken against her will. This wasn't some planned event that Eva was a willing participant in. This wasn't some type of event where her mother signed off on a parental consent and said, "Hey, today we're doing this type of an exercise and the judge is going to be holding some type of a mock trial." None of that happened, and as far as Eva knows, that this was very, very real to her, very, very scary to her, and somebody in a position of trust, somebody that was in a position of authority and power, is threatening her about jail time, is threatening her by literally placing her in handcuffs. And so that is why we're here, and that is why we have filed this case. I know some of you may have questions about judicial immunity, and potentially you may interview other experts in the field. I can tell you with 100% certainty that there is zero immunity for what happened in the courtroom on this day. The immunity applies only when the judge is acting as a judge in a court proceeding. This was extracurricular. This was outside of being a judge. There was no hearing that was going on. Eva wasn't a litigant. She wasn't a party. She wasn't a witness. She wasn't a lawyer. She wasn't a court officer. She was there on a field trip. This occurred outside of the scope of a regular court proceeding. In fact, the judge had a proceeding, had finished that proceeding, and then asked if anybody wanted to be a judge or be a lawyer, and only one person raised her hand. Eva has no interest in this. She wants to go into medicine. Her mother's in medicine. Her mother is a CNA with an urgent care over in Warren. And Eva's been exposed to medicine, has no interest in the law. I told my children, don't go into law. It's a lot of work. But she has no interest in law, and only one person raised a hand, and one of the participants, one of the kids, went and sat into the judge's chair. The problem with what this judge did was this was completely outside of the scope of what a judge should be allowed to do within any realm of decency, but outside of any type of proceeding. So I bring this up because the first thing that people will say, the first thing that his lawyers will say, the first thing that anybody interviewed would say is, what about judicial immunity? And I'll say it again, 100% does not apply. Under the facts that we know right now as we sit here today, judicial immunity does not apply. Judge Kenneth King is not immune for what he did. So we are asking that, eventually we're going to be asking that he be held accountable. We have no role in any type of investigative process that may take place. We know that his docket has been temporarily removed. We know that he was teaching classes at Wayne State University, that he is no longer teaching. That is something outside of what we're doing, and our sole focus and purpose is to represent Eva and hold those responsible accountable. So the next steps that we have in this is we need to look into the extent of the live streaming. I don't have a lot of answers for questions as to what extent and to how much he was doing through a Facebook group that he has called, I believe it's King's Corner, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not very techie, but I have heard that you can live stream things off of Facebook accounts, and I don't know how much he was playing to a public opinion on this, but that's something that we will be looking into very, very closely. We will likely be hiring expert witnesses in the field of computer forensics that can look into this to the extent some of those have been removed or no longer exist. We will find that out, and once we do, we'll certainly notify all of you of that. We would also, after today, because the lawsuit was just filed today, we will be working to serve the defendants in this case, unless one of their lawyers reaches out and tells me that they'll be accepting service. So we will be putting our resources into this. This is a very important case. As a member of the bar, I do believe that when things like this happen, we have to hold people accountable. We can't just say, well, because this is a judge, I'm not going to take this case. I mean, Eva, and her mother came to us and they asked us for help, and this is what we do. We help people, we help those in need. We take the tough cases, we take some of the unpopular cases, and we work very, very hard for our clients. So our focus is going to be on Eva. Our focus is going to be helping to make sure that her well-being is okay, because this is extremely traumatic, especially what was done by somebody in a position of power like Judge King. So at this time, I would like to open this up for any questions. Please direct the questions to me. Once everybody's through, you can ask questions of Eva's mother. Yes, sir.
I do have a question.
Yes.
I saw you were pretty distraught. I can't even imagine what your daughter's going through right now. Could you share with us how traumatic this has been for your daughter and your family?
Go ahead. I'm sorry? Yes. Good. Latoya, come on. Come on. And the question is how hard this has been for Eva.
It's been for Eva and your family.
It's been pretty devastating. Eva doesn't want to come outside. She doesn't want to be involved with no one else but family relatives. It's hard for her to sleep at night. She's asking me, why did the judge do me like this out of all the kids? Like, she's really not understanding the whole thing of the system or what happened or what's going on. So I wish I could have brought my daughter here for today, but she doesn't want to be in front of the camera. She doesn't want to talk. She's embarrassed, humiliated, and I can't blame her.
And what message, what message do you want to send with this lawsuit?
Basically, I just want Judge King to take accountability for the way that he humiliated my daughter. It could have been anybody's daughter. It could have been your daughter or anybody else's your daughter. So that's how I feel. I feel like he owed her a public apology. Not only that, he owes her more than just a public apology.
And Mr. Harrington?
Yes, sir.
I noticed that the agreement of Detroit is not listed as a defendant here. Did they have any duty to protect Ms. Till's daughter that day, and were there any missteps on that organization's part?
No, that's a great question, and based on the evidence that I've seen, I don't know how they would have foresaw the judge taking these steps outside of being a judge. I don't know how they would have. So that wasn't something that we felt would be included in this case.
Hearing the facts early on, with reports that it was a field trip, I'm assuming there may have been some type of chaperones, questions about whether or not they could have stepped in when they saw it was getting too long, too aggressive. Said that she was going through this for hours.
Yes. Yeah, and so it's important to understand that when we're contacted by a client and we're looking at the possible cases, because anytime something happens, there could be multiple individuals responsible, and it's not uncommon for, as a case develops, that amendments to pleadings be filed. And we will be looking into every aspect. It's just what we know at this time, didn't point to anything that would suggest that the Greening of Detroit should be a defendant. If there was evidence that was presented to me tomorrow, later today, over the weekend, that would support that, I would be compelled on behalf of my client to represent her and to bring that. But at this point, the evidence that we've uncovered wouldn't have supported that.
Mr. Harrington?
Yes.
Is there a specific dollar figure or financial figure you guys are looking for in this lawsuit? Additionally, any specific kind of discipline for Judge King, maybe from the Judicial Commission or anything like that?
Sure. Well, there is the Judicial Tenure Commission, which I'm not a part of. I don't have a seat on, and I'm not involved with in any way, shape, or form, and that's not my focus. My focus is on EVA. And ultimately, as the evidence begins to unravel, you know, I did not want to put something into this lawsuit, and then all of a sudden, let's say I find more evidence through certain means, I didn't want to have a number that was too low. So I just wanted to just have the jurisdictional amount and move forward. And certainly when Mr. Felty and I are able to present the case in front of a jury trial, we will certainly be asking them for what we believe to be a large sum of compensation, because that's the only justice through this avenue that we can get is compensation for EVA. But right now what's really important is understanding the facts, understanding what happened, how we got here, and working towards that accountability and answers.
Do you believe the judge should be removed from the bench? We know that he is going through some training before his docket is returned to him, but do you think he should be removed permanently?
I believe that the judge should be afforded his due process rights and his ability to, just as I represent EVA and Gary represents EVA, I believe that whoever is going to represent the judge in this should be afforded their due process rights. And I think me making a statement about whether or not he should be removed because of this and this alone without having those due process rights probably wouldn't be very responsible on my part.
Judge King has been criticized.
I can't hear you. Can you speak up, please?
Judge King has been criticized in the past for his interactions with commenters on the YouTube stream, and I would guess on that Facebook post as well. Is that something you've looked at as part of this lawsuit, or is that completely separate?
It's developing, and I'm aware.
Question from Mom. When your daughter told you about this and you saw the video, what was going through your mind as a mother?
I was shocked because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was unexpected of what the behavior from a grown man in a courtroom was in my child. So I was speechless. I can't lie, I was speechless. I didn't know how to handle it. I felt enraged. I felt sad. I wanted to cry for my own child, and at the same time, I wanted something to be done.
So Judge King has said that Ava was disrespectful both through body language but also through saying something. I know that you said that she apologized to the judge for sleeping. Can you elaborate on whether or not she said anything else to kind of precipitate the interaction that happened?
I'm going to ask you the question. You tell me what she could have possibly said that would make it okay to put this 15-year-old kid in cuffs, make her go in back, put on a jail jumpsuit, come out in handcuffs, and be put through the disrespect to her, the harassment, the humiliation, and threaten to be thrown into a juvenile facility. So come up with something that would make that okay. So there isn't anything that she could have said that would have justified what Judge King did to Eva in that moment.
I'm certainly not trying to defend the judge. I'm just trying to understand this is what he said, and
Right.
I'm trying to understand if she said anything else.
Right, and there are some portions that are inaudible and they're difficult to hear, and I need to have the whole video, but I don't care what she said. I don't care the fact that she was tired and fell asleep. I don't care about that. We have there is this document called Michigan Code of Judicial Conduct. These are canons that judges are required to follow. And I was going through these. Here's one. It says, a judge should treat every person fairly with courtesy and respect. He didn't do that. The judge must maintain public confidence in the judiciary, and it is eroded by irresponsible or improper conduct. A judge must expect to be the subject of constant public scrutiny. Okay, there's a lot of things in here. And here's one, Canon 3. A judge should be patient, dignified, and courteous when dealing with others with whom the judge deals. We could go on and on. So again, I ask you, tell me one thing that she could have said that would have made it okay while acting within the bounds of what's required under Michigan law and the judicial canons. He overstepped.
It sounds like, just to clarify too, you're not filing or haven't filed a complaint with the Judicial Tenure Commission that's not.
We filed a 54-page federal civil rights case.
But not with the JTC.
I have not filed anything with the JTC. I've not filed anything with the Attorney Grievance Commission. In fact, I've never grieved one lawyer in my entire practice. I try to fight my battles in the courtroom and try cases for my clients in front of juries.
And this is a long way down the road. You're suing Judge King in his individual capacity. I guess for monetary purposes, this, again, long way down the road, would this be tax dollars that he'd be using to pay out any possible settlement, or this is his individual?
That's going to be a question between him and the bargaining agreement that applies. I'm just pleading the facts as the facts stand, and whether or not he gets insurance for this, because there is insurance that every entity in the United States has. So this is a case, there could be insurance. Frankly, I don't care. I plead the facts as they are, and if an insurance company decides not to indemnify him and pay for the conduct that he did, that's not my concern. My concern is this little kid and what she went through.
Ms. Till, you obviously have been there with your daughter since this happened, and you've been able to see how it's impacted her. What would justice look like for you?
I just want to see my baby smile again. I just want her to be herself, be happy. That's my justice. I just want my baby to be happy. I want her to come back out and be with her friends and be the normal 15-year-old girl that we all was once upon a time. That's all.
And Ms. Till, if you could recap just the life circumstances that led her to fall asleep in that courtroom that day.
As far as me and my children, I have 2 kids, 2 girls. We do not have a permanent residence right now. We do go back and forth between my mom's house and my aunt's house. And so that's our current situation. When I go to work, as any other normal day, I take her to school or work. My other child continues on to her education and extracurricular activities. I don't stop for nothing. This was just happened to be something that unexpected, deadbolt. It stopped in my tracks. It's actually a hindrance right now on my life, to be honest.
What was your understanding of the field trip that day? Was your daughter an employee of the Ring of Detroit, or was she part of a summer program? Can you give me some context there? Or what your understanding was why they took the students there?
I cannot tell you why the children went to 36th District Court that day because I had no idea. I dropped my daughter off again as 8 o'clock in the morning to go to work. The transportation vans take them to their work zone. They're supposed to be planting trees or learning how to become productive, successful grown-ups in the world. They're young teens. They don't have any legal troubles or mental problems. They're good kids. And so from my understanding, it was supposed to have been a learning environment situation, maybe. That's what I know about it.
I'll take one more question, and also on your way out is a copy of the complaint if you don't have it. I believe it's been circulated to everybody, but there is a copy there for anybody to take.
Can you sum up Judge King's actions in those 2 or 3 minutes that he made these decisions?
Sum up his actions?
His actions and his reactions in those 2 minutes that he made that decision to put him in the house.
He crossed the line. Period. He crossed the line.
Big bully.